It is Thursday at Bobblehead Homestead. I am Jeff. It was mid-90s, sunny, hardly any breeze, very humid. It's summer in Arkansas. It is not a particularly good afternoon, so I did not say good afternoon. Why is it not a good afternoon? Tim Conway, the Welsummer rooster, died today. And it's new to me. I'm still processing it. I have tried to film this probably about 10 times already, and I don't know what I'm talking about except to talk about Tim Conway, the Welsummer rooster. Just without going into detail, this is what happened. I left for a couple hours to go to a neighbor's. I turned the electric fencing on. When I came home, Tim Conway had gotten both of his legs entangled in the electric fencing, and it was about halfway up the electric fencing so that his feet were up in the air and his head was dangling down. And so that I don't think the electricity was enough to do it. Unfortunately, the position of him being caught up in there is probably what did it, and that is just a major bummer for me. I have buried him, so he's taken care of. That's never happened to me before. I've had these fences for over a year, and there was one other time Wild Barry got one of his legs wrapped and snagged in the fencing, and I saw it as it happened, and I was able to get him free. But I was not around today for Tim Conway, and so I don't think there's anything I could have done to prevent that. That was just a freak accident, and boy, was he tangled in there. I don't know. Well, once you get, and he had long spurs, I guess I could have trimmed his spurs. That's one thing I might have been able to do. But the spurs, make it worse for getting entangled in fencing like that. So it's just, yeah, and I don't want to dwell on that. I've done this video like 10 times. I don't want to dwell on that. Tim Conway, I've only recently named him, and I'm glad I did name him. So now that I will always remember him as Tim Conway, the Welsummer rooster, instead of, that rooster without a tail. He was just a fine rooster. I got him a little bit over a year ago with another rooster and 9 hens, and they were all related to each other. They were from the Lowell Barber line of Welsummers. Lowell Barber was a chicken breeder who originally brought the Welsummer breed over from Europe to the United States. And so, they had, that line is one of the originals here in the United States. So he was, finely bred rooster, and as far as his looks and body size, according to the standards of perfection, as I read them for Welsummers, I'm not an expert. I've never, gone to chicken shows or anything like that, and gone through the judging to learn all this stuff. But according to what I read, he was a very fine specimen of a Welsummer rooster, aside from him losing his tail. He had a nice, very big chest. His thighs were very nice and thick. He had a nice wide body. His back was, relatively flat instead of too arched. His neck wasn't too long. The one complaint that you could probably have is that his comb and his wattles were larger than you would want from the standards of perfection. But other than that, his body style, his body type, his body size, it was all perfect. The coloring on his feathers seemed to match exactly what the standards of perfection call for. He didn't have a lot of white undergrowth. He didn't have any barring or lacing, and the color on his neck matched his side saddle coloring, and that's in the standards of perfection. But beyond the looks, he was just a nice rooster. He never once attacked me. never even once hinted that he was about to attack me. And yet every time I went into their chicken run, he was always right there, watching what I was doing, and protecting his ladies, I guess, even though he never had to protect them from me. My watering station is right here on the other side of their chicken run fence. Every time I was over there filling waterers, he was right there watching everything I was doing. It was almost like he's thinking, one of these days I'm going to figure out how to do the water, and then we're not going to need you humans anymore. So he was smart. He was gentle with his hens. Sometimes roosters can be a little too aggressive with the hens, and they will start losing the feathers on their back. But none of the hens that I've had in with him had lost their back feathers. And he had a great cock-a-doodle-doo. And he was just a wonderful, wonderful rooster. And I think, part of that is probably the breeding line, is that, people pay attention to the personality of their chickens. The top breeders do. Personality is big on that. You don't want to keep breeding jerk roosters over and over and over again. You'd rather find a gentleman rooster and try to pass along those genetics. And Tim Conway was a gentleman rooster. I did get him over a year ago. He was 2 years old at the time, so he was over 3 years old. That's not a horrible lifespan for a rooster. The meat birds, they only go like 7 weeks, so 3 years is pretty good compared to that. He seemed to be happy here, never had any problems. Usually if they're not happy, like number 2, she's never happy, and so she'll get out and go wandering around and try to find their happiness. He never once got out of his chicken run. He was very content with what was going on here, and just a great rooster. This royally messes up my breeding plans, though. And that's nothing I can do about that now. But July 23rd was the date I marked on my calendar to start collecting eggs from the hens that were in with him. I have 4 whiting true blue, the younger whiting true blue hens, in with Tim Conway, and July 23rd would have been a month, and so on that date I would have begun collecting eggs to incubate and hatch. So that plan is not going to be able to be fulfilled. The next plan I had for him were these 9 Welsomer chicks that I have behind me in the brooder. Those are, Wild Berry is the father of those chicks, so they would not be closely related to Tim Conway. And so the idea there was to use the hens from these chicks to breed with Tim Conway to create more purebred Welsomer roosters. Wild Berry, sometimes what you like to do to invigorate a breed is to bring in outside genetic lines, and so that was Wild Berry. All the other Welsomers I had were related in some manner or another, but bringing in an unrelated bloodline can help reinvigorate your breeding program. So that's what I was doing by breeding them with Wild Berry first, and then I was going to breed that generation with Tim Conway, and then hopefully getting some really good Welsomers. So I'm gonna be rethinking all of my plans. Honestly, I have not been all that, that's for another video though, but I have not been all that happy with the Welsomer hens. They don't lay very many eggs. I was just not happy with their production, and so I was kind of questioning whether or not to stick with Welsomers. Anyway, this may have just made my decision for me. But yeah, Tim Conway, I don't want to get all negative and doom and gloom and sad, and he was a great rooster, and I can remember him as Tim Conway, the Welsomer rooster. He was a cool dude, never attacked me, he was good with the ladies, he had a great cock-a-doodle-doo, and so I'm gonna miss Tim Conway. just having him around, and I'm gonna miss him in more ways than one. So yeah, sorry for the downer. That's downer of a video. That's that happens around here. Okay, let's take a look at something else. I had a delivery today, and it's chicken related. This is another Premier One electric netting, electric chicken netting, poultry net. I don't know what they officially call it, but yes, I did get another 160 feet of electric fencing. I have 3 fences. This will make 4. I have 4 coops. You know, my plans are now going to change without Tim Conway, but you know, I want to give my chickens space, and I want to be able to move them around. For instance, where they're at now is next year that is going to be my Back to Eden garden. So they are working my Back to Eden garden this year, and hopefully, you know, helping level out the wood chips and fertilizing quite a bit. And so, you know, and one thing I wouldn't mind being able to put 4 different flocks wherever I want to. I only have 2 of the energizers that energize the fence, so I can do, you know, 2 here and 2 there at this point. So yeah, that came today, and in this box I'm not going to open it up, but this is 100 feet of hardware cloth. And that is going to go on the bottom of my raised beds. So, and I want to put that there to keep out moles and voles and, you know, other ground varmints from, you know, creating a home in my raised beds. That would not be cool. So a lot of people do the hardware cloth on the bottom of their raised beds. That helps keep out the small critters from creating a home in your raised bed. So I did get that today. Thank you to a couple of PayPal contributions. I was able to go ahead and splurge for 100 feet of it, and you save a ton of money buying a 100-foot roll versus going at Tractor Supply. All they had was, you know, like 10 feet rolls. So being able to order it online, I was able to get 100 feet for just a lot lower than what I would have, you know, paid at like Tractor Supply buying 10 feet at a time. And I asked about, I could have ordered, anyway, I don't want to get into the companies. Tractor Supply is very fine. You can order 100 feet from them also. That's not what I ended up doing though. So yeah, a couple of orders that came today. I can expand my chicken runs and give them all a little bit more space, and I'll be doing that coming up. And so, and I also have the hardware cloth for my raised beds. Moving right along. All right, Bob, you want to help me finish out this video, Bob? Today is Thursday. I have plans tomorrow, Friday, and I probably won't be doing any filming. So you might not see a video from me until Sunday or Monday. There will hopefully be some activity going on around here this weekend, and I will be doing some filming, but I probably will not have time to do editing. And so if you don't see a video from me until Monday, that will be why. It's because I'm busy, you know, busy doing stuff. Hi, Bob. Are you going to climb on my shoulder? Hi, Bob. He's purring up a storm still. What a turnaround this little Bob has made since he's gotten here. So, yeah, if you don't see a video from me until Monday, it's because I've got activities going on here this weekend, and I'm not going to have time for editing and all that stuff. So I apologize. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I really look forward to the next few days. Kind of a bummer of a day today, and that not anything I can do about that now. So, all right, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. you know, it's been so hot, but things are still happening a little bit here and there. And I'm excited about what might happen for the next couple days. And so is Bob, I think. Oh yeah, dudes, that was a rat yesterday. That wasn't a mouse. I didn't get a close-up look until I watched the video afterwards, because when I'm editing, it's just this little thing, and I didn't get a close-up look. But yeah, that was definitely a very small rat. Probably a very young rat instead of a mouse. So that happened yesterday. All right, take her easy, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bob. 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 Bob.